Start the next part, and what we're going to do is we're going to use Eclipse to build a very simple object-oriented computer program to do one simple thing, and that is connect to the SQL database. So remember that we have an environment in our local development computer where we work on our programs, and then we have an environment. Actually, this is it's on the C drive, Apache 2, and HEDocs, where we host our files for testing purposes. And then if this were a real program that we're going to host on the internet, a real web app, a database-driven web app, we would have a third place that we would put it. Once we're finished testing and editing and testing and making changes and testing, we would put that on a third place where we would the program would be live. Okay, so start Eclipse in PHP. What we're going to do is go File, New, PHP project. I'm going to call this one Connect, and then create a space to existing location, click Browse, and simply navigate to the folder that you want to use. And that is going to be your choice. Foreseeably, is going to be inside of your inside of the folder that you use to develop all your programs. All right. So I'm going to choose one called SQL2. All right. So I have my name, I've chosen location, and I'm going to go click on Finish. Alright, so here is my new program. It's blank, there's nothing in it. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple PHP files. So I'm going to right click, New, PHP file, and I'll call this one Connect. And I'm going to create a class file. So right click, New, PHP file. I'm going to call this one class database. Okay, so I have my main program and I have my database file. So I guess the first thing I need to do is, if this is the main program, it's going to be talking to my class file. So I need to include it. So I'm going to go include, alright, class, hit enter, db.php, and put a semicolon. So in this one here, this is my class file. I'm going to start to program it. So I'm sorry if I didn't mention this before, but you should be familiar with object-oriented programming in order to do this. So I'm going to start my class. So class, I'm going to call this one SQL maybe. Alright, and then open bracket, and then this close bracket will be my end classes. Alright, end class is the is a comment. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to use a couple of private properties. So private, I'm going to call this one database username, okay, and another one called database, of course, password. Okay, then I'm going to have a function, and I'm going to call this one SQL maybe. Okay, and this function is going to require two parameters, two arguments, a username and password. So it requires two parameters or arguments from the calling, from when it's called, and this is end SQL behavior. Okay. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go echo hello world from inside SQL class SQL function. Alright, and I want you to notice something here. I want you to notice that the name of this function is the same name as this as a class. Okay. Now it's seeing that I have a problem here, the little X here. So I'm gonna roll the mouse over it, and it's telling me that I have it's expecting a comma or a semicolon. So notice that the error is on this line, but the actual problem is here. I didn't put a semicolon here, so semicolon, and that should get rid of the error. Save it, and I'll get rid of the rest of it. Okay, so again, notice that this SQL here is the same as the class name. What this is actually what we call a constructor function. So a constructor function basically works basically is run as soon as an object is declared. So why don't we do that? So in here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to create an object, and when I create a new object, it should automatically run that file. So I'm going to go $, okay, database. So $db, this is the object name, equals new SQL. I'm going to just like that for now. Okay. I'll call this one root and 1-password. Okay, and then if this program runs correctly, it should echo hello world. Now, once I have this program, I'm going to go back to my favorite editor. I'm going to add that here. Test. Okay, so I need to look for PHP SQL. Maybe refresh it. Okay, SQL2, and here's the file I need to link to. So I'm going to link this text to this file here, alright, by using link. Alright, so save it. I need to that, and then hold down Control, index, upload, and I'm going to go to my favorite browser. Okay, and then I'm going to go http://localhost, or if you're smart, you'll have this as a quick link, and let's see if it works. Great. So now, because I see this, I know that the only place it come from, number one, it came from the web server, okay, and loading connect.php, and you see here connect.php. So it loads this file, and as soon as it creates the DB object, it runs the constructor function. And the reason why it runs constructor function is because this is the same, because the function or behavior name is the same name as the class name. It's a constructor. It's a special behavior called a constructor. Okay, now from here, what I can do is I can make sure that the parameters that I pass, these two parameters, are making it to inside of this behavior. So I'm going to simply echo them. So echo username, password. All right. Dot password. I think that should work. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is go back to Dreamweaver. I need to upload my changes, which are all in this folder. So upload it and go back to my browser, F5 through, and here are my passwords. So root and 1-password. So I know the parameters are making it inside here. Okay. So what I'm going to do from here, this is my test code. So I'm going to edit out my test code here. So I'm going to go just call this test code. Okay. And I'm going to comment it out, and I'm going to keep it just in case I need it for later. So down here is where I'm going to do my real programming. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to associate, it's a little tricky here, I'm going to associate these two parameters with the object that called this function. So here is the object is DB. This is the object that it calls the constructor function, and I want to associate these two properties with that object. So I'm going to use this keyword. Okay. So I'm going to go $this, okay, and associate basically this object name, which is DB, to DB DB username equals to $username. Okay, this DB password is equal to $password. Okay, so I didn't make these two up. These are the properties here. So these are the properties, okay, that are part of the SQL class, and every object that is created from this SQL class has these two properties. And what I'm doing is I'm simply assigning the parameters or arguments that was passed to this constructor function by the object that called it, okay, and I'm associating them, okay, with that same object that called it. That's all I'm doing here. Now you might want to rewind that last minute about a million times until you actually understand it, or you could ask me a question, or certainly email me, or type your question on YouTube, and I can try my best to answer it for you. Okay, from this point here, what we're going to do is we're going to connect to the database. So I'm going to go echo, okay, h1 SQL test connection with username and password. Okay, h1. There we go. So that's a little title there. And now here we go. Here's the connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a variable connection and go my SQL connect. All right. And then in here I'm connect to localhost. All right. And I need to connect to the password. Okay, so this DB username, okay, and I need the password as well. So the password is in this DB password. You notice how Eclipse is really cool, and that what it does is it makes suggestions for you. So as you type, it kind of makes suggestions for you. So now what I'm going to do here, and now this is just a variable. This is nothing more than a simple PHP variable. What I'm doing is I'm assigning, okay, I'm assigning this this result to this variable here. What MySQL Connect is this is a built-in function inside PHP, and this is what connects it to the database. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go my SQL select database, okay, and the database I'm going to connect to is test, okay. Test is the default database inside PHP when I installed it. If you don't believe me, look in the previous video and you'll see it. Okay, $con. So what I'm doing here is what I've done here. I'm simply putting it down here. Okay, and then go or die, and failed to connect to database, and go dot MySQL error. And that's it. Okay. CERROR. Okay. And then in this next one here, I'm gonna go echo strong successfully connected. Strong. There. Okay, now from here, what we're going to do is go back to Dreamweaver, and we need to upload it like this. Okay, and then we go back to our PHP SQL. Sorry, go back to our web browser and simply refresh the link. Okay, and it's successfully connected. That's great. But you probably don't understand how it works. So next video, I'll explain how all this works.